Well, good evening from WKB Nissan in Waterlooville. This is Grant from GrantThomas.com, and a bit of an update really as to how I'm going to call her the trusty old lady, is going now. This is the Mk1 Japanese Leaf that I've been driving for the past 2.5 years, and we are hooked up and rapid charging. Red light means it's charging. You can see what we're currently charging at here. Can't see through the contrast. Let me just click on the screen. There you go. So currently charging at a respectable 83 amps. We've actually got a sign up here now asking only for Nissan customers to use this, because quite a few Outlander PHEVs are swinging by here and they use the same charger mode plug. Anyway, I am on charge at the moment, and let me show you some of the updates I want to cover in this video, because last week a significant update. And by the way, you can't have your car switched on when you're rapid charging. You need to start the rapid charger, then you can jump back in, press the power button twice, then you can get this screen up. You can also even turn the heater on. 30,228 miles. So last week, a massive milestone reached in this car. And as you can see on the right hand side, still 12 bars. And again, if you're a new viewer to this, the bars on the right hand side, the thin ones with the two red ones at the bottom, that is the capacity or status of the battery. And as the battery ages, they start to go. And I can't remember what they are, but I think if you lose one, it's 15%. And basically it goes right the way down, and you will lose range as the battery degrades. But I was reading this morning that Nikki Gordon-Bluefield, her Mk1 Japanese Leaf has just touched 70,000 miles and has only lost one battery segment. So the UK seems to be really well suited to this kind of climate. Now I'm going to just pop this up and turn the video around. So it's Thursday evening, like I said, it's the 26th of February. It's chilly out there, 4 degrees, and I'm just rapid charging. But some pretty big updates actually to tell you about. I think there's 3 of them. First of all, the meeting we've got here in 11 days time on the 8th of March, Sunday the 8th of March 2015, we're holding the first South Coast EV drivers meet for a year. I think it's only our 5th overall. When I first got this car, I was on a very steep learning curve, and I wanted to learn about how to charge it, what cards I needed, what cables I did. So literally me and another couple of EV drivers around the area got together and said, look, why don't we try and get some people together, throw it out there on a couple of forums. And we literally, I think there's about 8 of us or 10 of us, and we pushed 2 tables up together in a Wetherspoons in Port Solent, I think it was, and had a bit of a chat. Last year, I came and approached WKB here and said, do you mind if we have a meet here? We'll use your rapid charger, we'll get some people along. Great meet. We had about, I can't remember what it was now, 19 cars, maybe more than that, because there was a couple of Priuses there were some Amperas. It turned out to be the largest EV meet, driver EV meet of 2014. We're back here, and it's looking, I mean, it's amazing what can change in a year, because it's looking like a massive event. We've got 2 people coming down from Sunderland, Nissan HQ. The dealership here now, I think they've really cottoned on to just how important Leaf is, because they've gone from selling just a very small number to quite a lot last year. And I think and we're here in February, they've nearly eclipsed all of last year's sales in the first 2 or 3 months. So they really are becoming a specialist in Leaf, and they've got some great expertise inside here. With the staff who have been trained up, and I think they've even got Chris Cardy here as an innovation specialist. And certainly having a 24-hour accessible public charger, rapid charger, means I can come up here, grab a coffee, cheeky McDonald's coffee on the way up here, and I sit up here 20 minutes, give the car a boost, and then I can carry on my way. So that's the first update, the SoCEV meet. And if you're not an electric car driver, but you're interested in electric cars and you actually want to talk to some real drivers rather than just listening to the marketing spiel, come and talk to us. Because we were all once in the position you're in, considering an electric car with a whole load of questions. And we're actually going to be doing some presentations, bringing some cables along. You don't have to go down that geeky or complex route, but if you're interested and you want to take these cars like I have and gone to the top of Wales where there is very little charging, then you're going to need to have some, commando adapters. And I'll bring all of that along. I'll bring along the portable EVSE that I built on the EVSE build day, and Dave Davies is coming along, and he's bringing along, and I think it's the first one I've seen in the UK, it's a solar charger. So if you've got solar panels on your roof and you've got an electric car like this, then this box dynamically changes. So without going too far off at a tangent, but when you've got solar panels on your roof and the sun goes behind the cloud and the actual amount of electricity that's being generated drops off, this box of tricks dynamically adjusts that spare capacity. So let's assume that your house is using 500 watts, your solar panels are producing 3000 watts. It goes, that difference of 2500 watts, it takes that and pushes it into the Leaf. So it only charges the spare capacity between what your house is using and what your solar panels are generating. Then when it goes behind a cloud, that drops from 3000 to, let's say, 1000 watts, and you've only got 500 watts difference. It redirects that 500 watts into the Leaf. So you actually truly charge your Leaf for free without importing any electric, because this box dynamically adjusts, monitors what your house is using, what your panels are generating, and that's an amazing breakthrough to have. So he's going to bring that along and show it here as well. Let's get back to this car. So I'm now exactly, or just under 6 months left in this car. It's a 3-year lease. I took it as a company car, really incentivized by the zero company car tax. And it's now up for renewal, and I've driven a whole load of cars in the last year. The BMW i3 battery electric, the Rex version of that. I had an Outlander for a week. I've had that again in January. I've had a Toyota Prius, a load of cars I've driven. And my decision to replace this is the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. And there's a few reasons really. The first one, and because this is a lease car, it's a company car, it's a car I'm never going to own. So you have to try and, to as much as you can, put that emotional side of your head to the back. Think of it as a financial proposition. And I said about the company car tax. Now in April this year, the company car tax, which has been 0% since I took this car in August 2012, it jumps from 0% to 5%. Now that doesn't sound like much, but that 5% is 5% of the value of the car times your tax rate. It gets slightly complex, but let me break it down like this. So this zero emission car that has nothing coming out of the tailpipe, no carcinogenics, no combustion engine, there's no emissions that come out of this car, is now getting grouped together with a whole load of cars from 0 to 50 CO2. So plug-in cars like the Outlander, like the Prius, like the i3 Rex, the BMW, all of them are in the same bucket, and they all get taxed at the same rate, and that goes from 0 to 5% in April this year. Next year it goes from 5 to 7, the year after 7 to 9, the year after 9 to 13, I think it is. So that's quite a large jump. And let me put that in real terms. So if I was to take this car again, so it would be the new UK Sunderland built one, and I was to take it for the same 3-year lease, I would go from paying, in company car tax terms, I think it's £26 a month, up to around £110 a month. Extrapolate that out to a year, I'd be going from 0 to over £1,000 in company car tax. And that's all calculated on the cost of the car. So this is a, you know, if you get the top of the range Tecna replacement for this one, it's a 32 grand car. So you'd be paying over £1,000 for this by the time, at the end of the 3-year lease. And that's the thing, because that's not far off of the Outlander PHEV. So to cut a long story short, there is a very, very little margin between me driving a zero emission car with an 80-mile range, which suits us, to a Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV, which is a plug-in electric hybrid car that has a 27-mile electric range and then a 2-litre petrol that either charges the battery or drives the car, but you effectively have a 300 or 400-mile range. So I'm giving this up, and I'm going to order the Outlander PHEV probably next week. And I'm going for the GX4H. If you haven't seen my video, see the links on the side, you'll see that my video's there. Now that was a bit of a difficult decision, but part of me said I can't step away from the Leaf, because if you have driven a plug-in hybrid, it's a very different driving experience to driving a pure electric car. The Leaf, the i3, when you put your foot down, it just flies. The acceleration. Now, if you do that in a hybrid, be that the Prius, be that the Outlander, then it uses both engines. It uses the electric engine, it uses the petrol engine, and it sounds like, the phrase I use, it sounds like you're unleashing 10 hairdryers. It hasn't got that performance, nowhere near that, but then I don't expect a 1.8 ton 4x4 to move anywhere near as quick as this, and I would miss that. So here's the second piece of news this week, and you may have seen it on Twitter. I've been, sadly, monitoring the price of used Leafs. I was, in my mind, going to save up and buy a used Nissan Leaf in the summer of 2015 to kind of complement the Outlander we're going to go into. So we'd have an Outlander PHEV, 5 seats, great big boot, enough for us to do all of the longer journeys, but still using the electric for all the local stuff. And then getting a used Leaf to do all of the other stuff and get rid of our internal combustion engine car, which is a BMW Mini. So a Leaf and an Outlander can't go wrong. Now, I nip up to this particular Nissan dealership at WKB. I plug in, have a coffee and a chat with the guys in there, and I run scenarios, and have done for the past few months, about what it would cost to buy, to lease. And something strange happened last Friday, because I sat down with Chris here and we looked at the figures of the various leases and the deals that are on offer. And what struck me more than anything else is the guaranteed final value of a variety of different cars. But to try and summarise, Nissan have really reduced the cost of or their estimate of what the cars are going to be worth in a couple of years' time. And that means that the cost of the lease has gone up. I got a price a couple of months ago, and I got a price last Friday, and that price has gone up about £40 a month. So I said to Chris, what's going on here? And he explained that, you know, now that there are more of these cars out there, and because the technology is moving so quickly, the actual value of these cars in a couple of years' time is dipping. And that's probably going to be due to just the sheer refresh that's going through on these cars as well. So without going down a different alley, come 2017, there's going to be lots of 200-mile range electric cars, including this one. There will be a Generation 2. This is the Generation 1 Mark 1. The current UK-built one is the Generation 1 Mark 2. But the new Generation 1 in 2017, with a complete different look and feel to the car and the different battery pack, that will do 200 miles. So, to me, and with what I said about the company car tax, it kind of made sense to take a Leaf on a lease for 2 years, because that means the Outlander we're getting in August this year, that's on a 2-year lease. And if I could lease a Nissan Leaf on a personal basis and get rid of our BMW Mini, then that would also tie up quite nicely. So I did. I went in on Friday, had a chat with Chris here, came back on Monday and placed an order. And next week, and I think it's going to be Monday, I'm taking delivery of a 2015 15 plate. It's the brand new 15 plate next week. So I'm going for the Leaf Techna with the 6.6 kilowatt upgrade on the charger, and absolutely go for that. I stand by that every single time. Go for the 6.6 charger. Now, I didn't go for the pearl white. This is the original Japanese pearl white, this car, but pay for that extra on the lease. It was £20 a month to go from the flat white to the pearl white, and I thought that's ridiculous for a car that I'm only going to drive for 1-2 years. To get that particular over a car, and I'm not going to buy it. I think the final value on my lease that I have signed, and I've gone for PCP, at something like 15 grand, and a Nissan Leaf today bought in 2015 is not going to be worth £15,000. So I fully intend to hand the keys back at the end of my PCP deal. And two things with that which really made me go for this as a deal. First one, I didn't realise, with a PCP deal, as long as you're over halfway through that deal, anytime after halfway, you can hand the keys back. So on a 2-year PCP lease, anytime after 12 months, I can hand the keys back. So if something radical happens, if all of a sudden Nissan pull a rabbit out the hat and do something I haven't heard, I'm under, or even if work goes belly up and I'm not able to keep that car, I can hand the keys back after 12 months and walk away. Or I can go right the way through the whole 2-year term. So that was quite a nice piece of information I didn't know. And the other one, excuse me, the other one I did know was, and I haven't been able to take advantage, because this car came from my company's leasing company. It came from a dealership in Birmingham, about 2.5 mile drive for me, sorry, 2.5 hour drive from where I live. So I haven't been able to take advantage of the internal combustion engine hire car replacement. So the fact that I'm now ordering a Leaf, a personal lease Leaf, a personal lease Leaf, I can get 2 weeks, 14 days worth of complimentary car hire. I just need to give these guys a call, say, look, I've got to go up north for the weekend, can I have a car? I think they're obliged to give me something to a note or whatever's available, but I know I've got that security of every year. So for those 2 years I've got this car, I can have 14 days every year. I can go and have a normal internal combustion engine. So for those occasional long journeys. So that means that next week, and our current BMW Mini is already up for sale, but next week we'll actually have 2 Leafs. So we'll have this Mark 1 original one with 30,000 miles on the clock, and then we'll have the brand new one, the Leaf Techna 6.6. So we will have for the next 6 months 2 Nissan Leaf cars, and then this one will go and the Outlander PHEV will come. So quite exciting times, really. And I think that's going to give us, probably for the next 2 years, the best split of flexibility. Not sure that's the best way of describing that, but we've got a car there with the Outlander, a 5-seater, which we can just get in and drive anywhere. It can plug into a rapid charger, not this one here because this is for Nissans, but it can plug into a rapid charger. It behaves differently, the Outlander. The Leaf, when you plug it in, it will kick in at 110, 120 amps, and then it kind of arcs down in a curve. The Outlander goes at 50 amps and it sits at 50 amps. And if you try and turn the engine on or power it on like this to get a bit of heat, but it completely cuts off the power. So that's a different animal, and it's not really designed for that. We're just going to plug it in at home, drive it, use it for 27 miles, use a tiny bit of petrol if we need to, and then plug it in again when we get back home. It's not really being bought to go and then use the rapid charging network. And as a Leaf driver, I've been frustrated when I pulled up and found, you know, a car like the Outlander abandoned or just plugged in and not being monitored. You think, you know, you've got another engine there. If I'd pulled up with 5 miles left on this car, I haven't got another choice, where with a hybrid, and it's a bit of an emotional topic, you at least have got another engine. I think that was all the updates I was going to do. So Outlander replacing this, brand new Nissan Leaf coming next week, Tecna 6.6. The SoCEV meet here on Sunday the 8th. And I think that's just about it, really. It has been great meeting so many of you, by the way. I came here yesterday to pick up the paperwork for the Leaf I've ordered. Oh, I put it on Twitter. It's quite funny. I walked in there, and the guy who was selling the Leafs yesterday, Chris, he had a couple there. And no lie, I walked up there, and the couple was sat at the desk, and she turned to her husband, this woman, and then said, "That's the Grant that I was looking at on my iPad at 6 o'clock this morning in bed." It's one of those moments where you're not quite sure how to respond to that. That was hilarious. But I'm glad that people are looking at these videos and they're actually getting some value from them and being able to make those decisions. I think this is still a great car, the Leaf. And obviously I'm now, after 2.5 years driving it as a company car with very minimal financial risk, I'm now signing up to 2 years driving this on my own because I've got such confidence in the car. If we're doing a journey of let's say from our home to Southampton and back, and oh crikey, what is that? It's 50, isn't it? 55 miles. We can easily do that in the new Leaf. It's got the heat pump. It's got a much better heating system than this one. So yeah, we will be doing some announcements here. We've got some news. I'll have a bit of a chat with Nissan to see how much of that we're allowed to say, but we have got some exciting updates. I will try and video it, the SoCEV meet here, and I'll publish it on this same channel. So do come back here after the 8th of March, and you'll see me try not to be too embarrassed talking in front of, I don't know how many people we're going to get. On the EV forums, I think it's about 15 or 16 have confirmed, maybe 20. On the other forum, I think another 5 or 6 people, quite a few people on Twitter. My concern is we're going to have somewhere between 50 and 100 cars here. This forecourt takes 16. We've got lots of parking access around here we can use, but it could be a big event. Who knows? Let's see what happens. But come back and we'll do the video. Hey, thanks for watching. Any questions or comments? Anything you need me to explain further? Anything you want to see how the car works or how the charging works here? Feel free to leave me a comment and I'll see if I can help. You can follow me on Twitter at Grant A. Thomas. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/Grant2. And you can follow all my updates on grantthomas.com.